When I think of jazz basketball, I think of New Orleans. It was the music, the food. We was welcome in New Orleans.
Well, basketball in New Orleans was sort of non-existent. I always said that New Orleans was a football town.
I didn't know how the people would be receptive to the jazz.
Well, I thought they would last, but I thought they would last in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. When you say jazz, you don't think of Utah. You think of the jazz in New Orleans, and that's where the jazz started at.
It was the only city that we felt would accept the franchise at that time. The league was looking for larger venues, and the Superdome was under construction, which gave us an in that nobody else had.
When I played in New Orleans, I had more fun than I had in college. You had people that really cared about you. That people would say, "Hey, Nate, how you doing? Hope you play well the next day," if they knew who you were.
It's a total different culture there than in Los Angeles. But I loved New Orleans as a city. I loved the people there. They treated me well. I had friends there. We just didn't win basketball games.
Goodrich slapped away by Averett, and again by Averett, and now
That's him down low right to Robinson. Works against Javar Wilkes, turns, shoot off the glass, but it's blocked by Javar.
And Goodrich underneath. The James knocked away and out.
Well, first of all, we didn't have a facility. We practiced at Tulane. You know, ain't like now the guys, big showers, big everything. And we didn't practice much in the arena at the Superdome.
The Superdome was a natural asset, although it was something that turned into a negative because of the size.
It's large enough to put the Astrodome inside of it. It's like playing outside. It's so big, they didn't want to put all the seats and the floor. That's a lot of work for them. So a lot of times we played, we didn't even have shoot-around.
It was really built for football, so you had to treat it differently. And at the game, you'd have to move part of the seats over to the other side of the floor, and so there'd be 2,500 on one side and 25,000 on the other, if you had that many. So
We had a couple of games where, we'd have 25,000 people, but a lot of times there's 10,000. I mean, you're playing in the Superdome and it's empty.
We didn't have the big locker rooms at the Superdome. We in the sinks locker rooms, because we didn't have one. It ain't like now. They didn't have a weight room, try to use the sinks, weight. So very difficult preparing and keeping yourself in condition.
just had some unusual difficulties that you had to work with. But it was a great market, introduced it to a lot of people.
The people in New Orleans was very excited about the Jazz because they had a guy from LSU, which was 90 miles away, and he was playing for the Jazz.
Catch the action with all that jazz. Follow the beat of Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete Maravich.
He was such a great player and gave us credibility instantly. We couldn't have found a better player to sign. Somebody that everybody recognized. So he was very popular and very renowned.
Pistol was the best ball handler I've ever seen.
So he loved me like, "Oh man, I'm glad you're here to catch my balls." I mean, he's throwing them everywhere, over his neck, on his foot. He could pass it. And he passed it to me. I make a shot, he make a shot. Truck. When I come off, set the screen. We was really good.
He would come down and put the ball in front of him and dribble it like that and hope you'd reach for it and he'd go right past you.
Pistol Pete was probably 10 years ahead of the way the game is played. He was a very talented showman that could flat out shoot the basketball. If the three-point shot was used as much as it's used now, he probably would average 40 a game.
Pistol, he wears number 7 this year. Maravich, the captain of the club, and averaging 29.8 points a ball game.
One of the best players of all time, and was an asset to the market, having been from that area himself.
When we talk about the Jazz, we almost always have to mention Pete Maravich, but this year, in Truck Robinson, a new dimension has been added.
Well, when I joined the Jazz, I was a free agent, and I had played against the Jazz being with the Bullets, and they was pretty weak. They was a little laughing stock. So going there, I knew they had Pete Maravich, Gail Goodrich, 34, Aaron James, my age. Elgin Baylor was the coach.
Elgin Baylor in his second year as head coach.
Elgin Baylor, a native of Washington, D.C., one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Now, that is Elgin Baylor, who was a great player in this league with the Lakers, talking with Jake O'Donnell, the official.
We called him great because he was. Young guys today don't know nothing about him. He was a real deal.
Elgin Baylor was the player that I kind of try to pattern my game after his game because Elgin was a great rebounder, a shooter, and he was a great player. And I got a chance to play against Elgin my rookie year. And the coach I had at that time was Bob Cousy. And he knew that Elgin was my idol. And he told me, he said, Nate, I don't care if he is your idol, play defense on him. I tried to play as hard as defense I could, but Elgin had that way about himself. He was a great player.
So I decided anything I can do as long as I can play, I would play for him so he could try to be successful and I could try to prove that I was one of the elite forwards in the league.
And the rebound by Robinson. When he gets that inside position, it's going to be his ball. He's the best in the league.
So going to a team that I knew we wouldn't be winning 60 games, going to the finals, I just decided I was going to try to do everything I could.
And the rebound taken by Robinson. That's his specialty. Grabbed by Robinson again. He's always around. Robinson with a rebound. And Robinson rebounding again. And the rebound to Robinson again.
Chuck Robinson's come here and he is leading the NBA in rebounding. He's added that dimension to this club and thus far is making them competitive.
Ovation. He has just hit his 1,000th rebound. And no Jazz has ever had that many in a season.
So I led the lead in minutes played. Nobody today would play 44 minutes a game. But, you know, of course I wrestled what I could. Obviously you wrestle on defense. And Goodrich always was great with me. I mean, he was glad I was there. Because when I got rebounds, he took off. He didn't think I can throw it that far.
When I joined the Jazz in 76, 77, the Jazz had not had any success.
Who has carried the big load since the injury to Pete Maravich, lead his team.
I was at the end of my career. I went there knowing that those probably were my last 3 years. It was different. I left LA in not the best of circumstances because I played my option out. The league does not want me to play my option out. Not only do they not want me to play my option, they don't want anybody to play their option out. The owner, Jack Kent Cook, he was trying to make an example of me. What happens is the league forces New Orleans to give compensation to the Lakers, which New Orleans knew they were going to have to give some compensation. They just didn't know how much. And the league, again, wanted to make an example of any players playing out their option. They got 2 first-round draft choices, a switch of the first round and a second, which was unheard of.
In the 1980, the one happened to be Magic Johnson.
His name is Magic Johnson, and Magic, it's a delight to have you aboard in the NBA. Thank you.
I don't know about the other two, but Magic Johnson, that was a swap some kind of way, it would have been Magic.
So there went the future of drafting young players coming out of college to help the franchise. And then I get hurt, and so, you know, the New Orleans basically doesn't get anything for a year. I went there with a lot of enthusiasm that I thought that, you know, joining Pete Maravich and the rest of the team, that I could have an impact. And I got hurt the first season. Really a disappointment. The second year, I think we missed the playoffs by 1 game. And then the third season, Maravich gets hurt.
And of course, Pete Maravich on the absentee list this afternoon. And after suffering that knee injury, without Pistol, they're a different ball club. In fact, since the 75-76 season, they are 91-91 with him. They are 10-31 without him. So he does make a difference.
I'm hurt. Then he gets hurt, and it doesn't work out. I'm very competitive. I had been on winning teams all my life. So it was very hard for me mentally to accept losing.
Money on Goodrich. So many great years with the LA Lakers, and some period of time, of course, with Phoenix as well.
We weren't getting the attendance needed to make it work.
From a fan perspective, the fans in New Orleans, we were there, they liked the game, but there wasn't that many.
We didn't sign any free agents. We had to draft guys, and of course, bringing in a rookie. You need 3, 4, 5 years for him to get ready. And they weren't willing to do that.
So I talked to the commissioner about applying for a franchise in another market, and he agreed with that. We had some familiarities with people in Salt Lake, and they just won a championship the year before in another league.
In the ABA those days, they won a championship. The Utah Stars did win. Zelmo, Ron Boone.
That first year, we ended up winning an ABA championship. Boy, what an exciting year. You know, the fans were crazy. Played in the Salt Palace. Attendance was like 12,000 to sell it out.
So you would think it would have been a little better when the Jazz came here because they had a little taste earlier.
Really capturing the fans to the point where they just fell in love with, you know, what was going on out there on the floor. This is a basketball town. I think if the Stars would not have won the ABA championship that year, first year, then it probably would have been an uphill battle for the New Orleans Jazz to move to Utah because there would already been ABA professional basketball team here, and they could see that it would be supported.
It gave us that credibility, and we were able to go to the league owners that were making the decision and presented a package that we were getting to take to Salt Lake, and that would be an asset to Utah.
So we were building something, and then of course things got bad. I left.
The team was young. It had not had the success, so it just didn't work.
Franchise moved to Utah.
Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals.
It's been 50 years. I'm one generally that looks forward as opposed to looking back.
Of course, I just never thought it would get nowhere near this thing. I'm out there in the arena looking up, and huge place. I mean, wonderful situation. I personally didn't think the name Jazz would go with Utah. Utah Jazz, no Jazz there. But now, they'll never give up that name. They're the Utah Jazz now.
Well, first of all, I think to be invited back and to help celebrate the 50th, I'm honored, I really am. Yes, I had more success elsewhere, but like I said, I enjoyed my 3 years there and with the players and the team. It's nice to be part of the celebration, to relive those experiences which can never be replaced.